Good afternoon and welcome to Allerton Community Church's YouTube channel or Facebook page, wherever you're watching this. And we're just continuing our theme of talking about some of the stories in the Bible. And I just wanted to start by just acknowledging something you guys may have thought. We as Christians, we sometimes believe some pretty strange stuff. And the story I'm going to be looking at today is about when Jesus was walking on water. And I think the last time, I don't know, you heard of anything like that, I think it was David Blaine, a magician walking over the Thames, and that baffled everybody, but we all kind of expected something from him because he was a magician. But when we as Christians start talking about the Bible, saying we believe in it, and the stories like this, you know, it is odd. And in that oddness, you can sometimes go, what on earth has this story or this Bible got to do with my life? So, you know, we're going to put a bit of worship music on, and afterwards we'll talk about the story and just say, you know, is there something in that story that could possibly have some relevance to my life today?
God on whom I lean and I depend. You are truth and you are wisdom. You are trustworthy and kind. You are righteous and you're faithful. You're the God on whom I lean and I depend. I lean on you in the midst of the battle. I lean on you when I walk through the fire. I lean on you because I know that you're faithful. You're the God on whom I lean and I depend. Your judgments, who has known your mind, oh God? Who could ever be your counsel? You're the God on whom I lean and I depend. I lean on you in the midst of the battle. I lean on you in the midst of the battle. I lean on you when I walk through the fire. I lean on you because I know
So the story I was talking about is Jesus walking the water. I keep looking down because I've got my Bible on my phone. Technology, brilliant. So the story, it's in Matthew, and Jesus had spent a day teaching some people, and he had a lot of his friends. The Bible calls them disciples. I sometimes look at them as like teaching assistants. They're probably trying to keep the crowd in order a little bit. But they'd spent the day teaching, and so Jesus said to them, get in your boat, go to the other side of this big lake, because we've got some stuff to do there tomorrow. And Jesus was probably tidying up the classroom and having a little chat with God about what he'd been doing. They'd set off, and Jesus could see that the sea got really stormy and they were struggling. And Jesus also, he needed to be there with them because at the other side of the lake. So Jesus being Jesus, instead of getting a boat taxi or the Uber equivalent, he just decided to walk to them. And so he had his teaching assistant disciple friends see this guy walking water, and they freaked out. And I think most of us, if we saw somebody walking on water, we'd freak out. They says here they thought it was a ghost. I think that's quite a logical conclusion to come to. We probably would too as well, maybe. But as they realised who it was, one of his friends called Peter, he just said to Jesus, tell me to come out and walk on water with you. And Jesus said to him, look at me, focus on me, and it'll be all right. So Peter got out of the water, Jesus gave him his hand. And, whilst Peter was looking at Jesus, he was all right. He was walking on water. But all of a sudden, Peter, he started looking around and he realised, hang on, there's waves, there's a load of wind, I'm getting wet. And he suddenly started to sink. And then Jesus rescued him and got him back in the boat. And I read that story and they're wondering, okay, it'd be pretty cool to walk on water. David Blaine did it and got headline news, and that'd be all right. But what on earth does that mean to my life today? I've got no plans of going down to Pittybeck or Chelladine and attempting to walk on the water there. But today, in my life and in all our lives, I think that the story, the lesson I got from that was we need to decide what we focus our attention on so we keep our head above the water. And I think, especially in this time, we've had a full year nearly of lockdown. We've had daily updates on how many people got this infection around the world, pictures of horrible hospital scenes in England and other countries. And if every day, multiple times a day, that's what we're taking in and that's what our focus is on, we are going to panic, we are going to feel anxious, we are going to feel depressed, we're going to feel there's no hope, we're going to feel the world is out of control. And that isn't great. And I'm going to read something, just somebody I found on Instagram called Jared Cooper. He wrote this, he said, the human mind is simply not designed for 24/7 news cycles of doom. It will make you ill. When the towers fell on 9/11, we watched those towers fall 100 times within days. For millennia, we have never had access to such relived horror and sorrow, nor have we tested its effects on us. The availability of non-stop sorrow, terror and grief in full HD by a media vying for our attention is not going to lead to health, faith or love. It leads to compassion fatigue, fear and even depression. And I think at times we've all felt a bit of fatigue, a bit of fear, a bit of depression, sadness we can't do anything about. And that's not how God wants us to live. He wants us to live a life with peace and joy and contentment. And I know I don't want to trivialise the things we're all going through. Many of us have lost loved ones, lost jobs, uncertain futures. But in the midst of those really difficult situations, God still says to us, actually, there is peace, there is hope, there is a future. And so some really practical things that I've found that help sort of be a bit of an antidote to, the fear we see. Deleting Facebook, coming off social media for a few days at a time, not watching the news. And it's not a political statement, but when I see Boris appearing on TV, you can't help but feel this twinge of dread going, goodness me, what's the next bit of lockdown or how much longer, you know, sometimes I just won't listen to it for a few days just to help keep my head straight. Other things which my wife Kate, I know she finds helpful, is she'll sit quietly sometimes at the end of the day and just write her thoughts down, write some notes, you know, what some people call it journaling, maybe writing down a couple of things that we're grateful for or some of the positive things. On a night with my daughter when she goes to bed, you know, I'll read her a bedtime story and I'll always ask her, tell me about the things in your day that you've enjoyed. And it's great doing that with a 3-year-old, but why don't we as adults start doing that with ourselves? You know, go out for a walk, if it's not chucking it down, or put a raincoat on, whatever. But go, what are some of the things that actually have been good in my life today? And just to be a little bit of an antidote. And the last thing that is a real antidote for me is, as I'm spending some time just away from the dramas and the noise of life, the storms of life, I'll just have a chat with God. We call it praying, but really you can just do it in your head silently or out loud. And just be like, God, these are the things I've struggled with today. What do you have to say about this? Or, God, these are the things I'm really grateful for today. Thank you for these being in my life. And I don't get an audible answer back. It wouldn't be good if it was like Bruce Almighty, you know, there's this person speaking to you, telling you, this is God, this is what I think. But sometimes you just get a thought that just drops in your head, or just a real inner sense of, it's okay, or it will be okay, or tomorrow's going to be a fresh day. So yeah, I'd really encourage you that just to try put some of these good practices in place. Try to remove some of those storms in your life by making some simple steps, and try to create some positive patterns. And if you are struggling to make those positive patterns, or if you just want to talk to somebody about it, you can get in touch with us through the comments section, or there'll be phone numbers or email addresses, or you can DM us. And we're more than happy to come to a social distance doorstep visit, arrange to go for a socially distant walk, you know, we can, or a phone call, even if it's just have a chat about how we as a group of people in this community can just be of a support and help to you. We hope and pray that you have a great week in the midst of lockdown and all the rest. And don't be strangers, get in touch. Thank you.